You're soft, and you know it. You've been shrinking when you should be standing. You've been hesitating when you should be moving. You've been playing small when everything inside you is screaming to expand. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you've been avoiding the pain that would make you stronger. Comfort has been whispering in your ear, telling you it's okay to slow down, to rest, to wait. But deep down, you feel it, that hunger, that frustration, that quiet resentment, not at the world, at yourself, at the man or woman you know you could be. But keep postponing, because somewhere along the way, you started believing that discipline is cruel, that discomfort is something to avoid, that effort without applause isn't worth it, and that it's killing you. Not all at once, but slowly, silently. Every time you hit snooze, every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, every time you lower your standard because holding it high is inconvenient, that's death. A little at a time, and it doesn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like average, like decent, like comfortable. And that's the trap. Because when you're dying in comfort, no one comes to save you. They clap. They tell you you're doing fine. They say you're doing your best. But you know you're not. You know you were built for more, for harder, for sharper, for excellence, not mediocrity. And that version of you, the one you dream about, they're not built in comfort. They're built in fire. In early mornings, in quiet nights, in the moments you do what's right, when no one's watching. And that's what this is about. This video isn't here to motivate you. It's here to confront you, to wake you up, to put a mirror in front of your excuses and say, enough. Because if you don't kill your comfort, it will kill your potential. And the longer you stay soft, the harder it gets to wake up. But it's not too late. You're still breathing. You still have time. And inside you, buried under the laziness, the excuses, the overthinking, there's a warrior. There's someone who remembers what it feels like to push, to sweat, to fight for something, to dominate. And they're waiting for you to stop negotiating with weakness, waiting for you to stop chasing ease, waiting for you to say it, I'm done being soft. Say it, mean it. And then build the habits, the mindset, the standards that match that energy. Because this world doesn't need more comfort seekers. It needs more builders, more leaders, more people willing to bleed for the life they say they want. And if that's you, if you're ready to become the one no one sees coming, then listen closely. This isn't just another video. This is a wake-up call. Your softness is optional. Your potential is waiting. And starting today, one of them gets to live. You choose. Comfort doesn't show up as the enemy. It shows up as a friend. It wears a smile. It whispers softly. It tells you that you've done enough for today, that it's okay to rest a little longer, that the hard things can wait, that discipline can wait, that your goals will still be there tomorrow. And the worst part is it doesn't feel wrong. It feels safe. It feels normal. It feels earned. You tell yourself you deserve it, that you've had a long week, that everyone else is doing the same, and so you give in. Not in one big collapse, but in 1,000 tiny compromises. One skipped workout, one more hour of sleep, one more scroll, one more delay on the thing that matters most. And just like that, comfort wins. Not because it overpowered you, but because you let your guard down. You stopped fighting, and that's how it happens. Not with a bang, but with a surrender. You start softening. You stop pushing. You lose your edge. And you don't even notice, because comfort doesn't make noise. It doesn't crash through the door. It seeps in, quietly, patiently, until one day you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person staring back. The fire's gone. The eyes are dull. The drive that once made you unstoppable has turned into a checklist of survival. You become efficient at being average. But you weren't born for average. You were born for sharpness, for intensity, for depth. But comfort robs you of that. It numbs you slowly. And you don't realize how weak you've become until life tests you and you fold. You break under pressure. You avoid challenge. You can't hold your ground when things get heavy. Not because you're broken, but because you've been conditioned to avoid resistance. And here's the brutal truth. Anything you don't train, you lose. If you don't train discipline, you get lazy. If you don't train grit, you get soft. If you don't train focus, you become distracted. And that's not a personality flaw, it's a habit. A learned response to a world that sells comfort as a lifestyle. But here's what they won't tell you. Comfort has a cost, and the bill always comes due. It costs you your edge, your strength, your voice, your leadership. It costs you time. It costs you confidence. It costs you your future. And in return, it gives you ease, numbness, stagnation, a version of you that survives but never dominates. And you know it. You feel it. That frustration you carry, it's not from failure, it's from potential. From knowing you've let comfort take what discipline was meant to build. And it doesn't have to stay that way. Because comfort might be strong, but your choice is stronger. And the moment you stop treating comfort like a reward and start treating it like the enemy, everything shifts. You stop running from hard things. You start craving them. You start choosing growth over ease, purpose over pleasure, standards over softness. And that's the difference between those who rise and those who rot in their own excuses. You don't need to change everything overnight, but you do need to start fighting back. Because if you don't kill comfort, it will keep killing you quietly, politely, and permanently. There's a kind of pain that never screams, it never bleeds, it never breaks you all at once. It just lingers, quiet, lingering, hidden behind soft pillows. Warm showers, late scrolls, skipped workouts, sugar highs, and dopamine loops. It hides behind phrases like, I deserve this, and just for today, and I'll get back on track soon. That pain is the ache of unrealized potential. The dull, constant pressure of knowing you were made for more yet doing less. Of feeling the fire but covering it with routine. Of hearing the inner voice calling you forward but muting it with comfort. And most people live this way, smiling, functioning, posting, but hollow. They go through the motions, collecting temporary pleasures while burying the calling that once kept them up at night. And over time they forget what it felt like to be obsessed, to be hungry, to chase something relentlessly, to wake up with a mission. Comfort steals that. It doesn't rob you of it all at once, starves your soul slowly. Every time you choose ease over effort, it chips away. Every time you lower your standard, it erodes your power. Every time you numb instead of face, it weakens your core. And the worst part, the world celebrates it. You're doing fine. You're taking care of yourself. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. But you do. You have to prove it to yourself that you haven't given up, that you still have fire, that you still want to lead, not just survive, because deep down you know something's wrong. You feel restless, anxious. You can't relax, even in comfort. Because the soul was not designed to stay still. It was designed to expand. And when it doesn't, it aches. That's why so many feel empty after resting all weekend. That's why scrolling for hours leaves you drained instead of restored. That's why easy days feel harder than the ones where you pushed yourself. Because the pain isn't from overwork, it's from underliving. You're not burnt out from effort. You're burnt out from avoiding your potential. And the only way out is through discipline, through intentional discomfort, through the fire, not once, daily. Because every day you train softness, it gets stronger. And every day you train power, you reclaim what you've lost. There's no shortcut, no hack, no easy path, just a decision, a standard, a fight. And the ones who make it, they're not the most talented. They're not the luckiest. They're the ones who refused to live comfortably numb. The ones who chose pain with purpose over pleasure without meaning. And yes, it's harder, but it's worth it. Because the price of staying soft is everything you were meant to be. And that price is too high to keep paying. Discipline is not punishment. It's remembrance. It's how you return to yourself, to your strength, to your edge. It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing structure over chaos, direction over distraction, It's about showing up for yourself when no one else does, because no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to force you to rise. This fight is on you. And discipline is the weapon. It's the moment you say enough and back it up with action. It's waking up early, not to impress anyone, but to prove to yourself that your feelings don't run the show anymore. It's saying no to the easy option, not because you hate pleasure, but because you love purpose. It's walking into discomfort like a warrior, not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand what it produces. Discipline is how you rebuild what softness tried to destroy. Your body, your habits, your standards, your name. It's how you regain the trust you lost in yourself when you quit that thing, broke that promise, let that dream slip. Discipline is self-respect in motion. It's how you turn pain into power. When you choose it daily, you become someone different. You carry yourself differently. You walk into rooms, and people notice something in your eyes. That edge, that silence, that depth. Because discipline doesn't just change your results, it changes your presence. You stop over-explaining. You stop apologizing for having high standards. You stop begging to be understood. You move with certainty, with a calm that says, I've been through fire and I came out sharp. And people feel that. Because discipline is rare. Comfort is common. But the discipline, they're a different breed. They lead. They build. They finish. While others talk about what they're going to do, they're already doing it. Quietly, relentlessly, daily. And that's the secret. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not flashy. It's repetition. It's the same action again and again and again until the old version of you dies and a new one takes its place. The one who doesn't shrink, who doesn't fold, who doesn't need motivation to move. That's who you become. And in that becoming, you find something you forgot you were missing. Purpose. Not the hype kind, not the posted kind. The kind you feel in your chest when you're walking in alignment. The kind that doesn't need validation because it's grounded in truth. And once you taste that, comfort starts to feel disgusting. Empty. Like a betrayal. Because nothing compares to the quiet power of knowing you've done what needed to be done even when you didn't feel like it. That's discipline, and it's not reserved for the elite. It's available to anyone who's tired of being soft and ready to rise. Look at every name you admire, every icon, every leader, every so-called legend. Strip away the fame, the money, the applause, and what you'll always find underneath is the same thing. Discipline forged in discomfort. Not luck, not ease, not privilege. Fire, pressure. Standards that would crush the average. Think about David Goggins, a man who once weighed almost 300 pounds, broke, depressed, invisible to the world. He didn't get out of that pit by waiting for the perfect moment. He built discipline like a religion. He ran through pain. He trained when his body screamed to stop. Not to prove anything to the world, but to kill the weakness inside him. Every drop of sweat, every early morning, every mile was an act of war against the comfort that was destroying his soul. Or look at Jocko Willink, former Navy SEAL. Discipline is his doctrine. Discipline equals freedom, not because it sounds good, but because it's true. He wakes up at 4:30 every single morning. Not for likes, not for clout, but because he knows comfort is always waiting to win. And he refuses to give it even 1 inch. That's what separates him. And it's not just in the military. Look at Kobe Bryant. Everyone talks about his talent. But talent was just the surface. What made him great was his obsession. While others were sleeping, he was training. While others were partying, he was watching film. While others talked about being the best, he worked like he wasn't even close. That's discipline. That's discomfort. That's choosing pain with purpose over pleasure without growth. Or take someone like Elon Musk. Agree or disagree with his methods, but understand this. He lives in discomfort. Building rockets, pushing industries, making impossible bets. While most chase ease, he chooses weight. Pressure, relentless schedules. Why? Because comfort never created anything that mattered. It never wrote a name in history. It never changed the game. The people who do, they run toward discomfort. They build a tolerance for pressure. They know the secret. Hard is the price, and they're willing to pay it over and over again, without applause, without shortcuts, without excuses. You want to be one of them? Then stop worshiping their results and start imitating their habits. Start embracing their pain. Start craving their discipline, because every great one was ordinary until they made a decision. A decision to stop being soft, to stop negotiating with their potential, to stop making comfort the goal, and instead to make greatness non-negotiable. You want to be remembered? Then you better start moving like someone who refuses to be average, someone who wakes up with war in their spirit, someone who doesn't need the world to understand because they've already decided to become undeniable. That's who they were. That's who you can be, if you're willing to get uncomfortable and stay there until greatness is built. You don't rise because life gets easier. You rise because your mind gets stronger, because you stop running from discomfort and start training for it. That's the secret most people miss. They think mental toughness is something you're born with. But it's not. It's built. Repetition by repetition, battle by battle, decision by decision. You want to stop being soft? Then you have to stop avoiding the resistance. You have to make discomfort your gym, pressure your trainer, pain your mentor. And it starts with this. Stop negotiating with your feelings. Your feelings will lie. Your mind will whisper comfort. Your body will crave ease. But your spirit knows what's real. And training your mind begins the moment you choose spirit over emotion. When the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and every cell in your body says stay, you move anyway. Not because it's fun, not because it's easy, but because you're no longer letting softness run your life. You've drawn a line. That moment is not small. It's everything. It's the repetition of rebellion against weakness, and every time you choose it, you get stronger. You build proof. Proof that you don't fold under pressure. Proof that you can suffer on purpose. Proof that your will is greater than your wants. And this creates identity. You stop seeing yourself as fragile. You start walking like someone forged in discipline. And people feel that. But it doesn't come from hype, it comes from habits. So you build rituals, anchors, habits that don't depend on how you feel. Cold showers, early mornings, hard workouts, deep focus, intentional silence. You train your brain to stop flinching when it gets hard. You train it to breathe instead of break, to respond instead of panic, to remain calm when everything inside is screaming to quit. And it's not about being robotic, it's about being in control. Because softness is loss of control. Softness is impulsive. It reacts, it avoids. But mental toughness is choice. It pauses, it evaluates, it decides. And you can train this daily by chasing resistance instead of retreating from it. Take the stairs. Start the conversation you've been avoiding. Finish the project without waiting for motivation. Push one rep past what's comfortable. Say no when it would be easier to say yes. These are the drills. These are the small fires that build the mind, that can stand in the heat and not burn. And when you live this way long enough, something changes. Life doesn't get lighter, but you get heavier. Grounded, anchored, solid. You stop breaking under what used to crush you. You stop quitting where you once collapsed. You stop panicking in storms because you've trained in the rain. That's the power of mental discipline. You're no longer a victim of circumstances. You become the architect of your state. And when you carry that, the world begins to bend around your focus. Not because it got easier, but because you stopped being soft. Close your eyes, not to escape, but to see clearly. To see the version of you that doesn't fold, doesn't flinch, doesn't break. The version of you who moves through storms like they're summer breezes. Who walks into pressure and doesn't blink. Who's been through hell and built muscle from the flames. That version is not a fantasy. It's not a dream. It's your future reality if you're willing to kill the softness that's keeping you small. Picture that version waking up before the sun. Not because it's easy, but because they said they would. And their word is law. Picture them training when no one's watching, showing up when no one claps, building when no one believes. They're not loud. They don't need to be. Their silence carries weight. Their presence is earned. That version doesn't explain, doesn't seek validation, doesn't lower standards to fit anyone's comfort zone. They are sharp, calm, ruthless with excuses, gentle with others, brutal with themselves. That's the edge. That's the difference. And it wasn't given, it was built. Built in moments you choose to show up tired, to finish what you started, to say no to weakness even when no one would blame you for giving in. That identity, it lives in you already. Maybe buried, maybe forgotten, but it's alive, and every act of discipline wakes it up. Every sacrifice sharpens it. Every time you do the hard thing on purpose, you chip away at who you're no ten, step closer to who you are. The man who leads himself before he leads others. The woman who walks like she's already earned her place because she has. You start to speak less and deliver more. You stop getting triggered by noise because you've built peace in chaos. You stop performing and start living. Not for applause, not for attention, but because you finally know who you are. That's the gift of killing comfort. You don't just change your habits, you change your reflection. You start looking yourself in the eye again with respect. You become someone your younger self would admire, someone your older self will thank, someone your enemies can't shake and your people can count on. And this identity isn't built by accident. It's built with choices. Every yes to discipline, every no to comfort, every hour you invest in becoming instead of performing. That's what makes you solid. That's what makes you different. And when you walk like that, success doesn't feel like luck. Leadership doesn't feel like pressure. It feels natural. It feels earned. It feels like the reward of someone who refused to stay soft. This version of you, it's already waiting. But it won't meet you in your comfort zone. It will meet you in the fire. Will you show up? It's not the big moments that define you. It's the small ones, the quiet ones, the ones no one sees but that decide everything. The soft version of you hits snooze. The disciplined version is already moving. The soft one skips the workout because it's raining. The disciplined one runs through the storm. The soft one scrolls through social media in bed. The disciplined one opens the book, sharpens the mind, feeds the fire. The soft one argues online. The disciplined one stays silent and focused. The soft one eats the junk food and promises to reset Monday. The disciplined one cooks the same meal they've eaten all week, because discipline isn't about variety, it's about victory. The soft one watches another video for motivation. The disciplined one gets up and acts without needing to feel like it. That's the difference. Not talent, not opportunity, just decisions. Tiny decisions that either reinforce weakness or forge power. Imagine a typical Tuesday. Alarm rings. You slept poorly. The bed is warm. The world is quiet. No one would blame you for sleeping more. That's the moment. That's the rep. You either choose softness and feed the identity of someone who negotiates with comfort, or you choose motion and feed the identity of someone who does what must be done. That moment doesn't just affect your morning, it defines your momentum. Or you're at the gym. It's rep 9 of 12. Your muscles burn. Your mind says, good enough. That voice is the softness. It wants to survive. But the other voice, the one that says, go deeper, that's discipline. That's the builder, the finisher. And the one you choose in that second will echo for the rest of your day. Or maybe it's the project you've been avoiding. It's boring, it's long, it's not urgent. So the soft version procrastinates, distracts, justifies. But the disciplined version locks in, works in silence, finishes before the rest even start. That's where the edge is earned. Not in brilliance, but in brutal consistency or relationships. The soft version gets offended, reacts, argues, posts about it. The disciplined one breathes, waits, responds with calm, because power isn't in noise, it's in control. And discipline trains control. It makes you dangerous in a world of emotional reactivity or finances. The soft version spends impulsively to feel better. The disciplined version invests, plans, builds, because they're not seeking relief, they're building freedom. Every day is filled with these crossroads, and each one is a mirror, not of who you want to be, but who you are becoming. And the longer you tolerate softness in the small things, the harder it gets to show up when it really counts. But when you start winning the invisible battles, waking up early, doing the work, saying no to weakness, you become unstoppable in the visible ones. Promotions, opportunities, influence, leadership, all byproducts of a life trained in fire. So stop waiting for one big break. Start dominating the small breaks, the silent choices, the uncomfortable moments where nobody's watching, but everything's at stake. That's where the disciplined are made. That's where softness dies, and greatness is born. There are only two pains in life. The pain of discipline here, the pain of regret. One weighs ounces, the other crushes. One stings now, the other haunts forever. And every day, you choose which one you carry. Discipline is temporary. It's sharp. It hurts. Waking up early hurts. Saying no to pleasure hurts. Showing up when you're tired hurts. But it passes, and what it leaves behind is power, pride, growth. Regret is different. Regret is quiet at first. It starts as a whisper. You should have tried. You could have done more. You knew better. And then it grows. It becomes a voice you can't ignore, a weight on your chest, a knot in your stomach, a shadow that follows you. Because deep down you know you had a window, a chance, and you let it pass. Not because you weren't capable, but because you were soft, because you let comfort win. And that pain doesn't fade. It lingers. You can't run from it. You can't scroll it away. You can't drown it in distraction. Regret sticks. It echoes in empty years, in missed opportunities, in the people you could have helped, the lives you could have impacted, the version of you that could have existed but never got the chance. That's the price of staying soft. And it's far more brutal than any workout, any challenge, any disciplined choice, because regret doesn't sharpen you, breaks you. Slowly, quietly, until you wake up one day and realize the time you wasted is gone. The chances you ignored are gone. The life you wanted, gone. But here's the good news. That future isn't written yet. You're still breathing. You still have time. And right now you get to choose. Pain no or pain later. Fire today or ashes tomorrow. Because comfort always offers you a deal. Skip the pain now and I'll reward you with ease. But it's a lie. It never mentions the long-term cost, the loss of strength, of confidence, of respect, of legacy. Discipline, on the other hand, tells the truth. It says, this will hurt, you will sweat, you will want to quit, but on the other side, you will become someone you can look in the mirror and admire. That's the trade, and it's always worth it. Because while others age with regret in their bones, you'll be aging with proof. Proof that you didn't fold. Proof that you didn't settle. Proof that you lived wide awake, fully present, fully alive, fully responsible for your outcomes. That's the path of the discipline. It's not for everyone. Most will choose the couch, the excuse, the easy life that quietly destroys them. But not you, not anymore, because now you've seen the cost. And you've decided that a little pain now is nothing compared to the pain of wondering what could have been. Choose discipline, choose fire, choose life, before comfort steals it all. This is your line in the sand. This is the moment where you stop pretending comfort is your friend. It's not. It never was. It's the slow killer, the thief of greatness. The voice that tells you tomorrow and steals today. You've played small long enough. You've coasted, delayed, explained. You've been average with flashes of potential when what you were born to be is fire. But fire doesn't live in softness. It doesn't burn in laziness. It doesn't grow in excuses. Fire lives in discipline, in intentional pain, in silence, in the unseen, unsexy, consistent war with weakness, And now it's your turn to wake up, to get back, to get up, to stand taller, to speak sharper, to move like someone who's done settling. No more negotiating with that inner voice that wants to stay warm, quiet, hidden. No more hitting snooze on your destiny. No more being the version of you that's tolerated when you were built to be undeniable. The world doesn't need another soft voice. It doesn't need another passive dreamer. It needs people like you on fire, focused and dangerous to every excuse in your way. You've tasted both sides now. You know what comfort gives, nothing that lasts. And you know what discipline gives, everything that matters. Your health, your confidence, your leadership, your legacy, it all sits on the other side of this decision. Will you rise your rot? Will you bleed no war, regret forever? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. You don't need a full plan. You just need to stop waiting. You don't need permission. You need to move today, now, because one day you look back and either you'll be proud that you finally got tired of your own excuses, or you'll be broken by the truth that you stayed soft when life needed you to be solid. So here's the challenge. Make it real. Turn this message into movement. Close this screen and do the thing, the hard thing, the uncomfortable thing, the thing you've been avoiding. The one thing that says, I'm not soft anymore. And if this message lit something inside you, don't just like it. Live it. Share it with someone who's also ready to rise. And if you're walking this path for real, come back here when it gets hard, when it burns, when you forget. Let this remind you, the pain of discipline is your path to power. The price is heavy, but the reward is everything. Kill the softness, wake the warrior, and never go back.